Hello, welcome to another video. I feel like I'm in the wrong angle or something is wrong here, but I don't know what it is. So we're just gonna roll with it. This is where we're sitting, this is the angle. I don't know if I'm on the wonk or you're on the wonk. Something's on the wonk, but we're just gonna roll with it. But today we are here to talk about some of my top priority sequels that I need to get to this year. The year 2022 is the year that I would like to get to these sequels. There is not 10, I was aiming to get for 10 on here, but I think I've only got 7 on here. However, some of these are more than like one book in a series. It'll make sense as I go on. So some of these books actually stand in for multiple books, but in terms of a stack of books in front of me, I just have 7. But there are sequels that I need to get to. Sequels to series that I started last year, the year before, or whatever. But as you may know, one of my main priorities for 2022 is getting through my bigger, chunkier adult fantasy series, and that is what these sequels are. I haven't included any of my middle grade sequels in here that I want to get to. This is just the adult fantasy sequels that I'm really eager to get to. So, with that being said, I don't envisage this video being too long, but let's get on with it. First up on this list is, of course, the Rainworlds series by Robin Hobb. Rainworlds Chronicles is this one called. The 4th series in the Elderling series. I have read the first one. I'm behind on Elderling Along, don't at me about that. But I need to catch up, and this year I will be completing the this book is City of Dragons, but this year I will be completing the Rainworlds Chronicles from Hobb and making more progress through the realm of the Elderling. Hobb was also on like last year's priority list as well. Of course she's on this year as well. It's never ending. I don't think that I'll be finishing all of Hobb in 2022. I think that'll be a job for 2023, but at least the Dragon series. So yeah, the 4th series in the overall realm of the Elderling, which is focused in the Rainworlds on the dragons. But I can't say too much because they all interweave and everything is connected, but dragons! Next up, probably my biggest priority, to be totally honest with you, is The Memory of Souls by Jen Lyons. I started this and then had to put it down for other reasons, but yeah, book 3 in the Chorus of Dragons series. But I also need to read book 4, which is The House of Always, which is over there. I can't be asked to go and grab it. But I need to read book 4 as well, as book 5 does come out in 2022. So I need to catch up. But book 1, Ruin of Kings, one of my all-time favourites now. It's a book that I have been heavily recommending to a lot of people. It is a chunky political adult fantasy. There are dragons, there are demons, there are gods, there are magical artifacts, there are really confusing family trees. It is emotional, it is dark, it is fun. I loved it. The second one I also absolutely adored. I gave the second one 5 stars based off of the prologue alone. I have fallen in love with Jen Lyons? I've fallen in love with the series and Jen Lyons as an author. Cannot wait to continue the series and finish it out in 2022 as well, hopefully. But yeah, if you haven't heard me rave about Ruin of Kings, I'm not sure where you've been, unless you're new to me, in which case, hey, I'm Jade. I love Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyons, which is about a boy called Kieran who is roped into so many different like prophecies. So many different people want to get their hands on him, whether they be angels, gods, dragons, magicians, secret people, princes. He's somehow involved in a whole lot, and it takes him a second to realise that that isn't a good thing. But yeah, book 3 in that. Cannot wait to get to this. Next up, I have Valor by John Gwynne. This is book 2 in the Faithful and the Fallen series, first one being Malice. Now, it's been a little while since I read Malice. I am a little foggy on the details, but I remember there being a prophecy, and this is like the main overarching plot that I remember. There is a prophecy, and there are 2 key people to this prophecy, and it's about working out who is who. Because you think you know, but you might not know, but you might know, but you might not know. So there is a bright star and I can't remember the other one. Bright Star and something else. And there is this prophecy about being destined to destroy the Banished Lands or destined to save the Banished Lands. And we follow many different perspectives as a war breaks out in the Banished Lands as well. There are giants, there is some sort of magic, there is something rising from the darkness. There are bigger threats than they know. Intense, political, fantasy. Just what I want more of. And this edition of Valor is so floppy. I am getting hardbacks of these, but like this is just really satisfying to flop because it's so floppy. But yeah, I loved Malice. Cannot wait to read more John Gwynne and get my mitts into this. Next up, I have a slightly littler one, which is surprisingly a Brandon Sanderson, but we have Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson, which is book 2 in the second era Mistborn trilogy following Wax and Wayne. I'm hoping to get to this one really soon, but yeah, these ones are quite a little bit smaller than Brandy Sandy's other books. But yeah, book 2. Again, it's been a while since I read The Alloy of Law, so foggy on the details, but Wax and Wayne are lawmen, or they want to be lawmen, but they're also kind of involved in high society, so Wax also has to be a high society man. But there was a massacre, there is a murderer, and a crime to solve. But this series takes place a long time after the events of the first Mistborn trilogy. Allomancy still exists. Our main characters are Allomancers, but if I remember correctly, being like a full-blown Mistborn is a lot rarer at this time. But yeah, the lore of the lands has developed, what they believe has changed, and the way they use Allomancy has changed. Much more of a Western vibe. Much more involvement of weapons rather than just the allomantic powers as well. But I enjoyed The Alloy of Law, and it's just been far too long for my liking, and I haven't yet picked up its sequel, so I really need to do that and would like to do it very, very soon. Next up, I have Jade War by Fonda Lee. This is the sequel to Jade City, book 2 in the Greenbone saga. I do actually now own the really pretty editions of these, the Illumicrate editions. They are beautiful, but they're over there displayed beautifully at the moment. But yeah, Jade City is about this place that is kind of split into 2 clans, and these clans are fighting for territory, they're fighting for loyalties, and they're fighting over Jade. And in this world, Jade enhances people's strength, enhances their abilities. So if they've got like raw Jade on their skin, it gives them more strength, gives them more speed, gives them heightened senses, like it just improves everything about them. However, a drug is being produced that, although normally only Greenbones can use the powers of Jade, a drug is being produced that will enable anybody to utilise the power of Jade. So these clans, these 2 clans of Greenbones, are not only fighting over territory, loyalty, and Jade, but they also need to control this drug as well. It gets really political, it gets intense. The sequel, I can imagine, only gets more intense, and I know that Jade Legacy is breaking some hearts, so I'm really eager to continue this series, and I'm hoping I can get to Jade War very soon as well, ideally. I am very excited about this. And then also Jade Legacy as well. So 2 books for this one. Next up, I have The Boneshard Emperor by Andrea Stewart. This is the sequel to The Boneshard Daughter, which I read way earlier in 2021, and I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to make of that one. I didn't think I was going to love it. I wasn't sure. I was a little bit apprehensive about it, but I ended up absolutely flying through that book and adored it, and it ended up being a 5-star read for me. So book 2 to that, I am very excited to get to. It is a chunker, although this is just the hardback, and I've got the first one in paperback, so I don't know if that's what makes it seem so much more intimidating because it's chunkier. But I'm very excited about this. This is about a world where constructs made of bone exist, and the Emperor is the only person who can control these bone shards, and he does that by taking chips of bone and embedding them into these, like, man-made creature constructs, and that's how he controls them. But there's also this, like, ancient evil that is possibly awakening, and Boneshard Daughter is about the daughter of the Emperor and her wanting to learn this magic that only the Emperor knows. It gets a lot more deep than that, but I don't want to say anything that could possibly spoil even the slightest little bit of the first book, so I'll shut up there. But I loved the first book, and I would die for Mephi, who is an animal companion that you would probably die for too. And then finally, the last one I have on my list is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. This is the sequel to The Poppy War, which again I read really early last year, and I am disappointed that I haven't yet got to the sequel. I really need to up my game for getting to sequel quicker, because I suck at that. But The Dragon Republic. So the first one follows Rin, who wants to join, like, the most elite military school. However, the testing for that is incredibly difficult. It's incredibly intense. And against all odds, she gets in. But it's then about the differences between training for war, learning about war, and then going to war. Very political, very intense. Then also focuses a lot on drugs as well. It is pretty grim. I know that it's very triggering for a lot of people. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't absolutely love the first one, but I feel like The Poppy War definitely has set up for its sequel to blow my mind. So I really hope it does. Where we left off in The Poppy War, like some of the things that happened in the latter half of that, I feel like that gives me way higher hopes for its sequel, because I know with The Poppy War a lot of people, like, preferred the first half to the second. I definitely preferred the second half to the first, but I can't tell you too much about that because spoilers. But yeah, I'm really excited about continuing this series because I think it's going in a direction that I'm gonna really like. There we go. There are my top priority sequels to get to in 2022. There are definitely other sequels that I would like to get to. However, I tried to really narrow this list down to the ones that if I don't get to them, I will be really disappointed, as opposed to just all the ones I want to get to, because there are many more that I want to get to. For example, one that pops out to me is Master Artificer by Justin T. Cool. I would love to get to that one as well. However, I know that it's only the second book in a much bigger series, so if I don't get to that one, it's not the end of the world, because I'd probably have to reread it before the next one came out anyway, etc, etc. But yeah, this stack is a stack that I'm eager to get to as soon as I possibly can. If there are any other sequels that you think I really need to keep my eye out for or get to as soon as possible, please do let me know down below, because of course I want to know what I need to be reading. It's you guys that hyped me up so much for Jade City and Jade War, and I'm really excited about all that. So yeah, please do let me know down below. And also let me know what sequels you are hoping to get to as soon as you possibly can in 2022. I would love to know what is top of your sequels TBR. But yeah, with all of that being said, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, give us a thumbs up, chat to me down below and all that jazz. And I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye!